Hi, I'm Dan Herbert and I'm a course developer and tutor at Point Blank Online. I've been working for over 20 years as a musician, sound designer and programmer. I released tracks in the mid-90s on Ouch, Tasty and Storm, and have also worked in TV and film. In this series of tutorials, we're going to be checking out the Max for Live plugins which we've been developing here at Point Blank. These are available for you guys to download for free. Make sure you subscribe to the Point Blank YouTube channel and also check out our free sample courses at pointblankonline.net. So in this video we're going to check out the Big Riff generator, another Max for Live device from Point Blank. This MIDI effect is capable of creating some monster riffs as well as some funky bass lines and inserts the randomly generated MIDI data directly into a clip. You might find this device useful if your keyboard playing skills are not as good as you like, or you're just stuck for creative ideas. I've already covered how to install a Max for Live plugin in Live 9 at the start of the Kick Drum Designer video, but for now let's just unzip the downloaded file. So double click and then I'm going to drag the file just before a synth. I've got analog already loaded here. Then it will open up Max for Live and then I'm just going to click on the open button here. I'm also going to just expand out the window. And I'm going to create an empty clip. So in terms of using this plugin, it's as easy as just pressing the generate button. That has already created a number of notes. Here they are down here. So let's press play and have a listen. Here's a loop just for context. So an important thing to do once it's created notes is select the actual notes, and then we can have a play around with some of the settings. So we've got a number of parameters here. Starting here we can define the key of the riff which is going to be created. So let's choose C sharp for example, and we can then determine how long the riff needs to be. I'm just going to leave it on a bar for now. Click on generate. Don't like it? Click generate. So at the moment it's just randomly generating a pattern. We can control how it randomly creates these notes using these parameters here. So if we want to restrict the note range, the number of different notes it creates, let's pull this down to 1 and click generate. Okay, so if you're into your much more repetitive lines, this is a kind of good option. Let's expand it out to a couple of notes. This one's just gone up the octave here. And we can also choose different modes as well. Now modes is something that is covered in the EMC2 course. It's just ways of kind of describing scales in music. I'm going to choose major. Let's try minor. And actually you won't hear any difference when we're just using 2 notes. We'll actually hear the difference between minor and major when we start generating 3 notes. Major. There we go. So we've got a number of other controls as well which we can use. In terms of octaves, we can get it to jump up and down the octave. Now this is measured in percent, so it's to do with kind of probability. So if I set the octave to 50%, or close as we can get it, then essentially 50% of the time the notes will jump up the octave. Let's press play. What I'm going to do is going to restrict the note range back down again and generate pattern. Got a new one. If you want to actually create a lower bass part, then let's pull down the transpose. Let's drop it down by an octave. So the actual rhythm it's playing back is determined by this slider here. Now if we've got it fully selected over the whole slider, then you'll get a wide variation of rhythms. If we want to kind of have fast rhythms, if we just select over this part of it, click on generate. Probably a bit too low. Generate. Generate. And we can get quite a lot of variation through adjusting the octave percentage. So if it's below 50%, then it's more likely to be a low note. And if we set it above 50%, then the notes are more likely to jump up the octave. We can also introduce rests to it, and that's a really important part of music. When we start to introduce rests, then we'll start to introduce a kind of element of groove. Again, it's measured in percent. If we'd put it right up, then you get less notes. Or when we bring it down, you get more notes and less rests. If we want to, we can also change the length, the duration of these notes. Let's pull down the gate setting here and generate. Or we can extend the notes. And obviously, depending on your amp envelope settings, is whether the note length will have any impact on the sound. And that's something we look at in the Ableton sound design module. The slider here also allows us to kind of go for longer notes as well. So I'm just going to change the settings here. Let's put gate back to 100%. Bring the rests down and the octave, expand out the note range, and let's click on generate. So at the moment, my synth sound, it's just got a short decay. So now we can kind of create melodies. It could be kind of sustained pad sounds, whatever you want. Let's just try a minor feel for that as well. So remember, when you're creating these patterns, a lot of it will depend on the settings within the actual synth that you're actually playing the sounds on. So let's just pull this back to a kind of tighter sound again. Give it a little more on the decay. There we go. And look at some of the other controls. We've also got here note repeat. Now this will work best with the kind of faster settings here. Let's just open up the clip window. So with note repeat set to 0, the notes are changing constantly. If I increase the note repeat, then what we should find is it's much more repetitive. So again, percentage, so 50% of the time the notes should be the same. So if you like it really repetitive, just pull down the note range and increase the note repeat value. The other menu which we haven't really looked at yet is this random and stagger, and this is related to how it randomly generates the notes. If we choose random, then it's essentially completely random according to the note range. If we choose stagger, then we can make a riff which has very small leaps, but over the duration of the riff might actually go up the whole octave. Let's click on generate and see what happens here. Increase the stagger. So the actual leaps, apart from this octave here, are fairly small. So let's try it again. So you can hear in this riff, equally it's got small intervals. here's a good example. So the difference between each jump is actually quite small, 3 notes maximum, but over the duration of the riff it obviously goes up by nearly a whole scale. We can also increase the length of the riff. Let's try a 2-bar riff here. Generate. And you can also do 4 or 8-bar riffs as well. So this is the point blank big riff generator. It's great fun just to play around with and see what riffs it will generate. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. Sometimes it requires some tweaking, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends what you're after and also what synth it's triggering as well.
At Point Blank Online, you've got 2 methods of interaction with your tutor. Firstly, you've got the weekly online masterclass, which is in real time. And then also we've got feedback on your assignments, and that's known as DVR. So the online masterclass is a 1-hour session you get with your tutor every week. You can ask questions about the lesson content and get instant feedback, and also demonstrations on the fly from their computer desktop with our streaming technology. DVR stands for Direct Video Response, and the concept is really simple. You upload your Ableton Logic or Cubase project file to your tutor, he downloads it and then pushes record on the screen capturing software and evaluates your work, so basically giving you one-to-one feedback. You see all of the mouse movements and any parameter changes made by your tutor. It's kind of like sitting in the studio over their shoulder watching what they're doing whilst they work. We've found the DVR process has truly revolutionized the way that we teach online, and the results speak for themselves. Book your place on a course now by visiting pointblankonline.net.